In 2021, do you think that Facebook groups are still a great place for us to be building community?
I do. It is a big part of my strategy. I want to say the podcast is our number one pillar, our number one focus. But then it's like, how do we get invisible people, right? Because we don't see them. There's no name, there's no email. They're a download. I mean, It's like the most impersonal, opposite of that. And for us, we encourage them, come join us in our Facebook group. Come check us out. So one thing that we do that I think is a good tip that people will probably want to hear if they want to do a Facebook group is I do a weekly show inside of my Facebook group, and I really call it a bonus podcast every week. So what I do is I tell my podcast listeners about the bonus episode, and I kind of tease what's happening on Monday, and the only way you're going to catch it is in the Facebook group. So we pretty much force people, twist their arm to come in that group because they're going, oh, I want to hear that, right? And then so I do that once a week. And then something I'll do once in a while to really beef it up and to get them excited is I will record an episode and I will say, this is a 4-part training that I'm doing the entire month of February, okay? And I'm going to let the listeners listen to episode 1, and I'll tease what's happening 2, 3, and 4. And I'll say, just so you know, if you're hearing this on the podcast, the only way to get 2, 3, and 4 is come join us in the Facebook group. So now I've just delivered what is, it sounds and feels just like a regular podcast where we over deliver. And now they realize, wow, there's so much more stuff she's giving in the group. So we get a lot of people to join us in the group from our podcast. And now we get to see their name. We get to see their face. We get to see their profile, what they do. We get to put a name and a face on somebody that was invisible before, that was not giving us feedback, that we didn't know who he or she was and what age she was. And does she have a business? Is she starting it? So it's just so much more feedback. So I believe Facebook groups will still be popular. I also think it just depends. Do you know how to be strategic in there? Do you know how to put on a good Facebook group, a valuable Facebook group, right? So you've got to really be careful. But that's just what I do. I go live once a week, and then my team also goes in there. I have a phenomenal team, and they'll go in there and they'll do live trainings and bonuses throughout the week as well. So we just load it up with content.
Well, I love the idea of creating exclusive content for this platform, because if they love you on the podcast, they're going to love the live show in the Facebook group. And again, providing those extra layers of value in different areas is a good way to kind of spread out where people are going. And one of the things that you pointed out there was that when people join your Facebook group, you're able to get more information. It's more than just a download. One of the things that I've done with people that join the After Hours Entrepreneur Facebook group is I ask for an email when they come in. So it's been an effective way of building my email list. Are there any other questions that you think we should be asking for new members to the group?
Such a great question. Okay, so number 1, I think we say, where did you find Stacy? Because we need to know. Did somebody listening to Mark's podcast get excited and come into the group? And was this something I should be, we have this one podcast where I'm not gonna say who it is, but it's a massive podcast that I did not know was a massive podcast. And I was on it maybe 6 months ago, and every single week somebody comes from her show. Every single week. Wow. How, it's crazy. She has millions and millions of downloads. And I had no idea when I went on her show, that's how big she was. But you get somebody like that and you see, oh my goodness. And then I realized we haven't had her on our show. Let's get her over here. A lot of times, after we're done recording this and this goes live, of course I'm going to promote this show, Mark. Of course I'm going to share it on my social platforms. So if you find somebody where you're like, wow, that was a great connection, how do you keep working with that same person? How do you keep doing a collaboration together? Maybe you do an IG live together. What else can you do to keep the momentum going if it's a good fit?
Yeah, I'm 100% on board. And quite frankly, I'm absolutely loving Clubhouse right now. Just the ability to connect with people. Yeah. I'll just give you a perfect example. I was hosting a room on YouTube Growth the other day, and it started out with Marissa Romero, Owen Video was there, several other big YouTubers as well. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, in the middle of the episode, Sean Cannell from Think Media popped in, brought him up on the stage. Daniel Batal jumped in. He's got tons of followers. And so to your point, I think that I found Clubhouse to be a really powerful way of developing connections, building and leveraging, kind of going back to the beginning, leveraging the credibility of other experts. which is helpful for me because I don't know all the answers. Every time I'm in a room, I learn something.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. You're not just there to build those connections. I'm learning things too. And I'll have friends where I'm like, we didn't even talk about this. And yet you're sharing this here and I'm writing it down. Like, tell me more. So no, I've been learning so much. And you just have to figure out, where can I balance this? Where can I put this into my schedule? And how do I make this work as a test, right? Because that's all we're doing right now is testing.
Right. Right. Well, I would definitely encourage everyone to check out the Foot Traffic podcast. Definitely check out Stacy Tuschl all over the place, and especially on Clubhouse. I noticed you've got some good momentum going there as well.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed this episode. I've got several other episodes right here for you. Smash one of these videos to make sure that you don't miss out on the tips, tools, and tactics of industry experts. Let's take that side hustle full time. Smash one of these links.